Awesome. Good morning, gang, and welcome to week 2 of Leadership Development Academy with the Robes. It's a pleasure to be here. Currently, we're just sharing some wins in the group chat, which is just awesome. So much that everyone has implemented in just 1 week from what we discussed last week, which was some really foundational concepts to building your business. Things like getting clear on your why power, duplication, and always, being mindful of that when you're operating out there in the community, talking to people, social media, the do's and don'ts, using the events funnel, which there's some huge wins there that you're all sharing, doing our job, getting our 2,500 volume done as the floor, not the ceiling, and really setting up your month. So just loving seeing all these wins come through. Let's just have a look at these last couple. Awesome, life-changing results, know she's in the right place. It's just timing, isn't it, guys? Everything is always about timing. So we're going to get straight into the goodness of week 2. It's the heading for you. So week 1 was all about purpose, and week 2 is all about products. And really the statement that we were just discussing that sums up this whole week in a nutshell, and we want you beating your chest, breathing this in, bleeding green, is that Herbalife is always going to have the best. And that's a quote from Jim Rohn. Herbalife is always going to have the best. And so start your notes with that week, because this week with that as a heading, because it's all about belief, it's all about conviction, and it's all about getting into action. So I'll hand it over to you, Rove.
Cool. Guys, I'm in a very focused mood this morning. So Em's sort of very energetic this morning. That's going to be great. I'm not as energetic this morning. I'm more focused. I feel like I've got an iron glove on my fist and I could drive it through a concrete wall.
It's kind of how we do life.
So yeah, it's sort of how we do life. That's why we're the Robes. Anyway, title is Herbalife is always going to have the best. I'm looking at this sentence by Jim Rohn, and it just came to me that based on your belief in Herbalife, the products, the brand, the company, how legitimate it is, their ethics, the marketing plan, the brand, the ingredients, the reputation, every component that makes Herbalife, your belief within that will determine how successful you are in this business and how fast you go. Pretty much. So if you looked at it, Herbalife's always going to have the best. If we turn that into a question, do you think Herbalife is always going to have the best? And you ranked yourself at a 10. 10 means yes, bulletproof, they're elite, no one can touch them, there is no legitimate competition. If that's 10 and 0 is I'm not sure, I'm a little doubtful, wherever you sit on that scale is pretty much going to reflect where your business is at. So it's just a really good question, because we can go and talk about all the topics for the week 2, but the mindset that drives your belief is going to determine whether you apply this stuff or not. And we're going to talk about how I guess you can get your belief up, because it's really, really simple in our mind. It affects everything. The belief, the ripple effect from that affects absolutely everything. So just a little question, where do you sit on the belief-o-meter on that statement? Herbalife is always going to have the best. Where do you sit? 10's bulletproof, 0, you're a little doubtful. I just want to talk about now another statement that Wayne Levy, who's been in the business for 30 years, in our first training, he came along to a Saturday nutrition training, and he said, in 100% direct proportion with how you feel about the products will determine your success in the business. And I still remember that statement today. It's 5 years old. It's rung true in my head the whole time. We've never forgotten it. And it's simply because no one can take your story away from you, ever. The more belief you have within how the products, the business, the community, the company, the brand, how it's had a positive impact on you, the more resistant you become to people out there in the marketplace that don't share that same belief. If your belief isn't there and you get challenged out there in the marketplace, you'll become a little defensive or salesy. If your belief's strong, you're water off a duck's back, couldn't care less. And you don't try to convince, and you're not arrogant about it, you're just neutral, because you're bulletproof. And that's really that mindset, that intention, that space. If you build an incredible business backed by a kick-ass product within this amazing company called Herbalife, if you come from that space, you'll fly. And you'll have fun doing it, and you won't have any knockbacks, because if you do have knockbacks, you won't feel them. I hope this is starting to make sense, guys. It really just comes down to how green is your blood, pretty much. How green is your blood? For those in Canada that don't know the Australian sort of analogy there, you know, Em and I bleed green. Our blood is green. We're Herbalife green. So the question is, how green is your blood? There's a couple of things that you can do to really increase your belief, and you can do them right now. And we've heard this before, but I mean, really take your program, take your nutrition as if you're making $50,000 a month. Use the program on that basis. You're pouring it in you. You're pouring it over you. If you can shower with a product, you shower with a product. If you can drink something, you're drinking it. If you can stick it in your ear, that's going in your ear. Whatever you can do, whatever product that has a Herbalife logo in it, you are smothering yourself in it like you would Nutella on a piece of bread. You are just all over the Herbalife products like a fat kid in a cupcake. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying here. Just get immersed in the product, because what this stuff will do, it'll start to, from the outside, it'll start to turn your blood green. I know this sounds a bit freaky, but really use your program with a massive intention, not just take the product. Because there's a lot of world team members that take product, and there's a lot of get team members and above that use the program. They use it with intention. They use it with force. They use it with an absolute intention to build a massive business. This whole session, this week 2 is going to be about belief and mindset about the products and the business. If you're feeling stuck in the business, just follow everything we've talked about up until this point, because at the end of the day, guys, you can be the best salesperson in the world. You can be the best retailer, the best seller, but none of that matters, because the only thing that matters is being the best example of the products, the brand, the community, and Herbalife as a whole organization worldwide. That's the only thing that matters, because what matters in this business is duplication, and people only follow those that lead. So the only thing that you should spend time on doing is be the best example you can possibly be. People will attract to that. Law of attraction will kick in, and people will follow you. I can promise you that.
Something additional just to this section, when we talk about the things you can do to increase your belief, and to really, I guess, you know, as humans, we're number one, we're usually scared of something new. And, you know, being skeptical is also something that comes quite naturally, especially to, you know, us as a generation, we're information-based kind of people. You know, we want the logic. And Marc said it perfectly: smashing your program, smothering yourself in the program. But the other thing that absolutely fills you with belief is the community and the positive association that comes with the events, be that a webinar, be that, you know, if you're close to a lifestyle center, or if your vision is to have a lifestyle center, it's not a limit if you don't have one, because there's plenty of other things that you can use, you know, even if it's just heading to an STS in Canada or catching up with some of the other coaches, you know, just anyone that is like-minded and sort of marching in the same, you know, towards the same goal. And it's just such a game changer for us. We really appreciated that. Probably a year or two into our business, George always said, you know, you've just got to be at the events. You've got to be at the events. And sometimes in the beginning you can think, oh, well, you know, like, I don't know if I want to go to that many events, or I don't have any team members yet, or I don't have anyone coming to the HOM or the open house, you know. But the mindset is not necessarily about, you know, what you're going to gain from having someone there. It's what you're going to gain for yourself in the beginning, but also what you can give to the event. And again, this was something we came to appreciate later, is sometimes you need the event and sometimes the event needs you. You know, someone else could have a guest logging into a webinar or sharing at an open house, and your story is the story that gets that person. And vice versa, you'll have a guest there one day, and it'll be the fact that he was there sharing her story, or that Lee's there sharing his story, and they will help you with your person move forward. So the events are kind of like, they go hand in hand with the products. Like, yes, everything we do, our belief comes from the connection to the nutrition, but the events and the positive association with the community, the personal development, the relationships, everything that comes from the events is also the second part to that belief there as well. So Just wanted to add that in.
Awesome. Finally, guys, as we wrap up belief, your own experience within everything that's Herbalife, like Em just talked about, events, products, brand, people, community, all that stuff, your experience within that will give you self-belief, okay? You'll think, I can do this or I can't do this based on your belief. You'll land on that, and you might be working on that. You might not be sure now, so you just keep taking the product, keep wearing the brand, keep showing up, keep getting in the information sessions until you get to a point where you go, you know what, I can do this. But then that's self-belief. When you go and get someone else an experience on the products, or they come along to an event and they're all jacked up, that affects your belief. Or you get someone else on LDA and they're like, I just did my first LDA. Do you realize how good it is? And you're like, yeah, man, I get it. So when other people's experiences come into play, what happens is not only do you believe you can do it, but you believe you can do it and be successful at it. And that's the key. So get your own belief as much as you can, but then go and help other people get on the products, meet the people, get around the community, get them exposed to Herbalife, because then you'll believe you can do it. Secondly, you'll believe you can be successful at it. And that's the key. When you help other people, you get fed. When you feed someone else, you get fed in the process. So I just wanted to talk about those two different self-beliefs. There's personal experience, but other people's experiences often are more impactful on our own self-belief as well.
And just really to summarize belief, guys, is it doesn't actually, when you feel this way about the products, about the nutrition, about the community, about the opportunity, it doesn't matter what you say. You know, it's not then about having the right set of words or, you know, having the perfect response when somebody asks you a question or, you know, what tell me a bit more about it, because your belief and your energy, you know, is that enthusiastic that it doesn't even matter if you blurt out something that's rubbish. Often they'll just be so excited by, you know, your clarity, your focus, your enthusiasm, that they want to follow you, or they want to hear more, they want some more information, they want to try the products, come to an event. So when you feel this way, you know, focus more on how you feel versus what, you know, the right thing to say is. And because we've all heard it when someone shares their story perfectly, but there's no feeling, and, you know, how we feel after that. And then we've also seen people, you know, share from the heart, not necessarily do the perfect version of their story, and it's done the job, it's perfect. So how you feel, more important than what you say.
That's why face and phone works, because you can create emotion there. Yeah. Messenger and text message, no emotion, just words. You can say the best thing ever in a messenger and a text, zero impact, because there's no emotion, no feeling. People remember how you leave them feeling, they don't remember what you say. 2 seconds after your interaction with them, they've forgotten everything you've said. But the feeling and that interaction with you stays with them. Let's talk now, guys. I hope you get some of our beliefs just oozing through the screen here.
Oozing.
I don't know where these words are coming from, but hey, business mindset, second topic. Let's just talk about the opportunity and the mindset behind it. I remember starting with a bunch of people. You know, when you get registered in Herbalife, you sort of remember from other organizations and other states who sort of gets registered about the same time, and you're on the journey. You just, not for comparison, but you just get a gauge because you're new, and new people look for new people, and you know where people are at and their timing of them get started. And what we've noticed is the ones that progressed and the ones that haven't progressed or are a little slower, it's because they start this business with the mindset of, I'll see how it goes. I'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. It's more like a hobby mindset. I'm just doing it part-time. Yeah, I get this little thing going. So what they're doing is they're reactive to Herbalife. They're waiting for something to come along. They're waiting to recruit the superstar. That's what they're doing, because they're just going to see how it goes. And then there's other people, I guess, more like us, that saw ourselves as entrepreneurs that were looking for a business to become free within. We started this business as an entrepreneur mindset, going, we're going to be successful. We just don't know how. We've got to learn the craft. We think Herbalife's strong, but it's inevitable that our success is going to come our way. We are in this to win, not to see how it goes. And I think if you start with a mindset to win, it's just a matter of time. You're not sure how fast you're going to go. You're not sure what it's going to look like. You're not sure some of the positives and the minuses you'll get along the way, but you just know that you'll cross the finish line, whatever that finish line is, mil, prayers, 15K beyond. You've got the mindset to win. Versus we'll see if I make it to the finish line. And that alone determines then every thought, every action, everything you say and do after that point. For us, holding inventory was a very, very simple thing to do because we're in this to win. Are you telling me today I've got to get registered for $80 and I've got to get a program for myself and 4 or 5 programs to start my business? Is that all I have to do? If that's all I have to do, I am in. There is no other business on the planet that you can start with such low startup costs. By the way, those startup costs are at a 42% profit when you start to retail the products. And it's in your control. This is just unbelievable, guys. I think we lose sight on this. You know, this mindset, just because it's $80 to get registered, you've got to treat this like an $80 billion business because it is. It's not an $80 business. That's a hobby business. That's making crafts at home with super glue and scissors. Yeah, that's crap. This is $80 to get registered to set yourself free and change people's lives forever. Do you realize that you have the ability to give someone an invitation to come along to an event, and that invitation can change not only their lives, but their future generation lives forever? Just with an $80 decision, get 1,000 volume, get an LDA and invite them to an event. That's some serious power. That's the mindset. That's the entrepreneur that says, I'm in this to win.
And so, you know, perhaps you haven't even seen yourself as a business owner yet or an entrepreneur yet. And this is something we see quite often as people progress through the business, particularly if you've come through starting on the program, you know, for your own results. And then you came along to the community and you were like, what else is going on here? How are these guys making money? I think I want to know a bit more. And as you've come through, now you've landed in Leadership Development Academy. And this is us telling you guys, like, you are now your own business owner. You are an entrepreneur. So flicking that mental switch, it's all of a sudden like, oh, well, this is my business. This is no longer, you know, oh, I better do some work because, you know, I know Amy's going to call me tomorrow, so I better make sure I've done some work. This is like, no, this is my business. So I'm working for my goals, for my family, for my loved ones, and, you know, this is cool. But it does sometimes take a mindset flip from an awareness point of view, from a self-belief point of view, and also from a self-worth point of view. It's like, yes, I have my own business. Yes, I deserve success. And yes, I'm the only one that's going to be able to get out there and make it happen with the support of an incredible community and a company like Herbalife. So, you know, coming from traditional business ourselves, when you don't have that supportive community around you, it's lonely. It's challenging when you don't have the backing of a company like Herbalife and you're worrying about all of the, you know, the drama and products, services, staff, superannuation, work cover, all of the headaches of traditional business are not here with this type of business. And we share this with you guys because we feel that this is like all of our experience and lessons that we can pass on to you. This is your own business without the headaches. And there's some of you on the call that are like, yes, so true, you've walked the same path. But some of you that haven't had your own business before, you're so lucky because you've missed all of the, you know, the speed humps up until this point. So as Marc said, this is a mindset. You know, we know that not everybody is here for the opportunity. We know that some people are here for the community, for the products. Great. What we're saying is if you've got your mindset clear with the right people that are coming through the system, that will duplicate. And we're always of the philosophy that if you show everyone everything, they will then decide, you know, where they want to be. So whereas if you just show them a portion of what's available, they're only going to know what they know. So the business mindset will duplicate, holding a little bit of inventory will duplicate, and even something that we suggest is having a few member packs, even just one at your office or, you know, in your car when you're off to a meeting, so that if you do have that discussion with someone and they say, yes, I want to get registered, I want to come along to the next event, you can actually do that and they can walk away with at least a shake and, you know, their business pack, you know, the bag, the manuals, the button, like whatever it is, they've got something physical that they're excited for the future. You know, it's not 3-4 days before you catch up again, get them started on the products, get them registered with a pack, and that will also duplicate. So basically we're saying just sort of have that affirmation, have that attitude that you're open for business because you've got that little bit of stock, a couple of programs, whatever you can afford, and it builds as you grow your business. Like right now, we know that if Herbalife said there's no products available to order for the next 6 weeks, we would be fine. We would be totally fine. We hold, at least usually 3,000 volume points under our staircase. So, we know we're going to be fine. But that's something that we were taught from the beginning as a business mindset. So we're not saying you have to do that, but we're saying, build up to having a little bit of inventory there as a business mindset. Yeah? Coolio.
Just, I want to share a quick story before Em's going to move into retail, recruit, and retention and stuff. The precedent, we're talking about precedent, like the precedent you set and the example you set. And whatever expectation you set, people that you're going to introduce to the business, they'll live up to that. They'll live up to your expectation. They'll live up to your precedent. They'll live up to your example. Let me share a story with you. Yesterday, I'll share a story to demonstrate this point. Yesterday, I needed to go and buy a pair of black pants for the World Team Leadership Weekend that's coming up. Well, I didn't need to, but I chose to. I wanted to. I wanted a new pair of black pants. So I went into my favorite shop and I walked in and I said, dude, I need a pair of black pants, 34, slim fit. He goes and grabs them. I put them on. They're a perfect fit. That's why I went to that shop. Got myself pinned up because they're too long. I'm too short. So you have to hem them. Anyway, the story's going somewhere, so stay with me. I'm in there for about 12, 13 minutes. I go to pay for it, and he said to me, when do you need the pants? I said, I need to have these pants by tomorrow, 4 o'clock at the latest. Can you do that for me? I said it to him just like that. He said, there's no way I can send them. I can send them to the alteration lady and have them back to you within 24 hours. I can't do it. I said, I believe you can. Can you go and check for me, make the call? That's what I said. I said, I believe you can. Can you go and check for me? Can you make the call? He rings a lady, rings his manager, and guess what they both said? No problem, get it done. Anyway, so this is about 3 o'clock yesterday. So I said, I've got 24 hours, 4 o'clock today, I need to pick him up because I'm on the plane Friday. So anyway, I walk out, I pay for him, and he does whatever he does with the pants. At 5:33 yesterday afternoon, 2.5 hours later from when I went in and paid for him, he rings me so chuffed. He goes, Mark, it's blah, blah, blah from this shop. Your pants are ready. I just wanted to ring you to let you know they're ready to go for you. And he was so chuffed to tell me, because what happened was, guys, I set an expectation, not in a rude way, but I said, I believe you can do it. Can you check for me? Like, make it happen. And not only did he make it happen by 4 o'clock the next day, he smashed it out of the ballpark. He felt brilliant about it. He called me to tell me he's done it in 2.5 hours. And that was just a little lesson for me. Whatever expectation, whatever precedent, whatever example you set for people, they generally live up to it. So how big is your vision? Are you asking for what you want? Are you directing people to what's possible for them? Are you stretching them outside of what's normal for them? And if you are, they'll live up to that. That can really compress your time when you're talking to customers, team members, supervisors, and so on.
That reminds me of the first day that we actually got started with George. Well, Marc had been on the products for a few days. We went to our first Saturday event and, George was sitting there with us, and him and Marc had a plan of how they were going to, get me on board and whatever. So George was asking me serious questions about our goals and about, our plans and our dreams. And, after a good 20, 30-minute discussion about our goals and the fact that this was really our only option to get our life back on track, he just said, well, if you keep doing what you're doing, where are you going to land in another 5 years' time? I said, I don't know. He's like, let's get your goals. You guys have got to get to supervisor like tonight. And, let's get cracking. Like, I'll show you the way. And honestly, like with everything we were going on, we had every reason to not go straight to supervisor. But that was every reason that we had to. And it was almost just like, we had faith that George had the answer for us. We were willing to work. And that expectation of just like, get your goals done, get into the supervisor academy and let's actually start piecing your life back together. We made that decision to just do it because, I would normally be the logical scared one going like, oh, maybe we should wait until we've got the money or this or that. And it was just like,
And the other reason we did it, you know why? Because we believed in George. We believed in the products at that point in time. But we didn't know for sure, but we believed enough. And sometimes I think as entrepreneurs of our own business, as supervisors, as leaders of our own organization on this call looking to build a business, we've got to sometimes remove our own doubts and limiting beliefs and not pass those onto our new guys. And that takes courage, because to exude belief when you're not really believing it, that takes courage. I'm not telling you got to lie and pitch it incorrectly or anything, but I'm just saying do your best to not limit the next person coming into your business by how you may have been feeling or what's happened to you in the past. Be neutral, show everybody everything, because what about if they're a superstar? Whatever expectation you attach upon somebody, generally they'll fulfill. That's all we're trying to say here, guys.
Yeah, that's really great.
Be courageous.
Really great point there, guys. If you had limits about price, if you had limits about your belief in the products, your belief in the opportunity, just be aware to not pay that forward to other people. We don't need to pass that on. Like, I see people all the time. We see people all the time sitting there in prospect meetings, like validating how big and powerful the company is, and like, the product is, like solid and and you can hear the fear that they're still holding subconsciously coming through their voice. Or you can hear, and everyone says the products are expensive, but it's really not when you work out how much you spend per day. And, if you take out your coffees and your lunch and then it doesn't work out to be expensive at all. It's like the person didn't even ask you about the price. So like, hold your tongue, ask that person great questions, and don't put your limiting beliefs onto them. It's a challenge in the beginning. We totally get it. We've done it. So just be aware. We're just passing our lessons on to you. Business mindset, stay neutral, ask great questions.
Show them everything.
And show that person everything. They will tell you what they want to do based on what they want. So that's a big version of the business mindset section this morning, but we hope that was some value and belief. Any questions so far, pop them in the chat box, and then we're going to move on to the next big section. So, belief, business mindset, inventory, duplication. Otherwise, just keep typing them away and we'll readdress them later. So the next section, gang, is really about, this is kind of like a bird's eye view of your Herbalife business. So we're going to break this down into the 3 R's, retail, recruit, and retain. And in our opinion, I'm hesitant to break it down because we don't see it as separate categories. We see this as just showing you a snapshot of, your business from a bird's eye view. To start this section, let's start like this. We all do 4 things, and you hear this in the Next Steps training all the time. We use the products, we use them obviously. We attract a consumer base, people that are loving the products. Maybe they're in the community, maybe they're not. Maybe they're progressing through the academies, maybe not. There's our consumer base. Then we recruit some members that do have the intention to help us build business for their own goals, for the impact. And we all pile everyone into the events. We make our events really the glue that holds the business together. Depending on how you come into the business, sometimes you're attracted straight into the business. Maybe you've come in for a result and you've progressed through, like we were talking about before. There's obviously different ways that people are attracted to what we do. And this is, I guess, coming back to what we were talking about before, with putting someone in an environment where they can see the whole menu, the whole buffet that's available. There are benefits to every angle of the business, and you need to build a balanced business. You can't just go out there and rely on just signing people up and putting them in the system, signing people up and putting them in the system. It doesn't work that way. That's a pyramid scheme when you're just focusing on recruiting and dropping people into a system without a legitimate product and service. That is a genuine pyramid scheme. This is not what we do. On the other hand, if you just go out there and focus on customers and getting customers blenders and, customers, results, discounts, you won't then build your royalties. So it is about, creating this balance within your business. And all you need to do is focus on talking to people, showing them everything, and they will move through the system based on what they want. So we're going to talk about some benefits of building a balanced business. And so I guess, first of all, this was really important to us, particularly in our first month. We needed to make cash flow immediately. And so George said to us, we need you to absolutely smash the products like your life depends on it, and, get out there and attract some clients. And so for us in our first month, yes, we had some inventory, we had some stock that we purchased at 42%. And there was a combination of retail and registering some customers as well. We basically retailed a supervisor order in our first 4 weeks in the business, which was like horrendously hard work, but we profited about $4,000 in our first month, which we needed the ability to do that. So I'm not saying that that's the best way to start. In fact, it wasn't the best way to start, but there is that option there for people that need to make immediate cash flow. So if you're in that boat where, okay, I'm building, I've got my people coming through the 4 steps and coming through the system, but I do need to make some cash this week. You've got the ability, because it's your own business, to go out there, and get people started on the products today. So the benefit of the customer base, yes, it's cash flow, but really ultimately we're building up our bank of testimonials and stories. You're building up your own results portfolio. In the meantime, use the ones off level 10, use the ones that, you're always asking people permission to share their results on social media, all that type of thing. But build up your own bank of results, because there's nothing like saying, look at some of the people I've helped change their life. And actually, look at my mum, look at my sister, look at my husband, look at our results, right? And that, again, it builds that belief. So you're building up confidence, and you can teach people to build up their confidence that way as well. Some consumers, as we've already mentioned a few times, will come into the system and see more, and then progress towards, going through the 4 steps and looking at the business opportunity. That method, and you only really hear this method at the bigger, larger Herbalife events, is called retail to recruit. You'll hear a lot about that, particularly in WA, in Western Australia. You hear a lot about that from the American stage as well. It's about, finding a customer and exposing them to the opportunity. That's great. Everything works. So the question for you guys is, if you do have some customers and consumers, how are you exposing them to what's available? Is it through the Body Transformation Challenge, which is the perfect hook? Is it through some of our webinars? Is it through inviting them to the centres for some of the events, a fit club, a TGIM, something like that, where you're talking to the customer and talking to them based on what they want, but then you're exposing them to the system, using some of those activities that surround an open house, or, that they can connect with some other coaches that are actually doing this as a business. So how are you exposing your consumer base? That's the first question for you. Before we talk about different methods, I'm going to move on to the opposite side. So, how are you then recruiting and attracting people to look at the opportunity? And there's always so many people that come to us and they're like, I can do personal volume, I can find clients, no drama. That just happens naturally in my day-to-day stuff, but I'm struggling with talking to people about the opportunity. So don't worry, we've all been here in terms of building up the confidence here. And it's really a shift in your intention, nothing more. There's no different methods in terms of showing people the opportunity, but it's your intention. If you go in and just share your product result, you're only going to attract clients and customers. And hey, we would have walked straight past you because we weren't interested in getting healthy. That came as a bonus to making some money. So with your intention, just sharing people a little bit more about what you're part of, about our goal, about this opportunity, listening next week in particular, when we talk about sharing your story, we break this down of how to share more about the opportunity. And so the benefits of then building a team is, you're not only helping other people with their goals, and you're helping other people change their life through opportunity, through additional income, life-changing stuff. There's nothing better than seeing, Bianca, Shani, I'm just looking at the names on the screen, able to stay home with their kids. Amy and Lee not having to break their backs running a personal training business that was driving them into the ground. You know, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing people change their life, including their health, by the way. So, and obviously as a reward for building a team and building a group of supervisors, Herbalife then pay you royalties, which then allows you to change your life and the lives of those around you. So, and as well as that, you know, like, I mean, we can sit here all day and talk about the promotions and the vacations and literally like the 5-star lifestyle that Herbalife has waiting for us all as a result of helping people. That's all there and waiting. But really, I guess if you look at those two methods from a bird's eye view, it's like, how are you exposing your clients to what's available? And are you talking to people about the opportunity? Are you showing them the full menu that's available? And if not, just increase your awareness to it. You're not doing anything wrong, but just increase your awareness to it and, you know, sit down and say, cool, I'm going to really work on this month. And if you want to have a chat to your mentor about it, they can help you refine perhaps your languaging, perhaps, you know, some of, you know, refining just a few tweaks. That's all it takes to then be able to confidently share more about the opportunity. And so hopefully that starts to make sense to you guys about building, you know, both that recruit to retail and retail to recruit style of business. Our whole thing with retention and retaining people is not for us about, you know, oh, get them a blender, then they'll stay on the products. Or, you know, like short-term success does not keep people around the community. Short-term things doesn't keep people around the community. For us, it's the events, the culture within the events, the relationships that you build, and truly being invested in that person's goals. That's what's going to keep them on the products. That's what creates lifetime customers, lifetime members, lifetime team members, is genuinely being focused on what they want and just loving them wherever they are. You know, like, we will never give up on any of you guys. Even if like your uplines all quit, you're like, you know that your tab team members are going to be here strong, always willing to help you. So,
guys, you just received a world-class 101 training on how to retail and recruit and the benefits of the do's and the don'ts. Honestly, that was just exceptional. I don't have anything to add because there's not much more to add other than let's maybe talk now about how do you do all that? What's the practice? The theory, that was just unbelievable. How is that now applied? What does it look like? And I'm going to share something with you that I think again, Wayne Levy, classic Wayne Levy. You guys will hear about this guy one day, been around a long time. This is something that he showed us back in the day, and we might have forgotten about it a little bit. So I'm just going to show you what I've drawn out. I want you to draw it. Okay, and we're going to talk about it for just a couple of minutes. All right, I hope you can see that. See this here? So at the top, you've got invitation. You've got invitation there. This is the how. So at the top, you've got invitation, then an arrow down to presentation. So it's going around in a circle like a compass, north, east, south, west. So invitation at north, presentation at east, registration at south. And then you've got testimonial at west. You guys got that so far? North, east, southwest. You've got invitation to a presentation, to get a registration, to create a testimonial. And then in the middle, from each north, east, southwest point, you've got an arrow that points to the middle of the compass, which just says events. Invitation to a presentation, to get a registration, to create a testimonial, and keep people in the events the whole time throughout the invitation, registration, presentation part. You guys got that drawn up? Just some thumbs up. I can see Melly, Bond, Mary. Yeah, all good? Okay, cool. This is the how part. If you're not clear on the how, that what Em just explained is that is the business. But the trap, some people hear that and then they go and try to achieve each component of this business. So they learn how to get people registered. Then they learn how to retail. Then they learn how to expose. Then they learn how to upgrade. Oh shit, now I've got to learn how to recruit. And they're learning to do like these little mini subcomponents of the job, when really the how, you've just written it out there in front of you. This business is a simple invitation to a presentation in order to get a registration, to get somebody a kick-ass testimonial, products and business, results and income. And then based on what they want, based on what that person with their testimonial wants, will determine if the cycle goes around again. Not whether or not you think it should go round again, whether they're a product lover, whether they're a volume producer, whether they're a business builder. They determine whether the invitation, they start inviting again. They start inviting to get them a further discount. They start inviting again to get qualified for LDA. They start inviting to do a home meeting to do the business. They start inviting to do a line to recruit and do 50,000 personal volume that month. They decide what they want. Based on what they want, they decide. I hope that, because what this should do, guys, this should relieve all the pressure. This simple little deal allows you to do everything that Em just described in one move. Master the invitation, master the presentation, master the registration, and master getting somebody a testimonial. 4 things to master and you're set. With one focus, 4 components to master, you are a complete, well-balanced Herbalife operative, and then you just focus on what they want. Based on what they want determines how fast the circle goes again. If it goes again, how long. It determines everything based on what they want, and people are going to do about what they're going to do. Honestly, they will. We can't control. I wish we could control it. I wish there was a button that we could go, I'm going to wind Em up a little bit quicker because I want to do 10,000 this month because it's double vacay, and I gave a kick-ass invitation. I want Em to do 10K this month. It's not going to happen. The trick is to go and give an invitation to a 10K a month person. You don't know who that person is going to be. Invitation to a presentation to get a registration to create a testimonial. And in the process of that, you invite them. Remember the events in the middle of the compass? You just keep inviting them into the next event. Hey man, we've got a call Tuesday night. Hey, you're coming along Super Saturday and Saturday. Check, we've got the kickoff coming along. Just next event, next event, next event. That exposure to the events in the middle, that can sometimes influence whether the cycle goes again and again if they keep getting exposure to the events. So now this is real simple. You can retail, you can recruit, you can do everything if you just focus on invitation, presentation, registration, testimony.
One little side note for you guys to go and do after this, because this is so simple that our human brains are already overcomplicating it. Go back and have a look at the live video that Marc and I did this week, talking about how to, talk about this exact concept of invitation, presentation, registration, testimonial. But we actually now break it down even further to help you clarify what your Herbalife looks like. So we talk about the different methods and just getting clear on who you're looking for. And hopefully all together it will be simplified. Do you want to add to it?
We'll do it right now.
Great.
I'm going to show you the drawing again. See at the top, the invitation part? That's your Herbalife. How you do your invites, that's your gig, baby. Your Herbalife. Are you online? Are you offline? Are you face-to-face? Are you via phone? Do you do flyers? Are you doing road shows? Like your daily method of operation in order to give someone an invitation to look at the products and the business, that's your gig. No one can tell you right or wrong. They all work. Everything works if you work. And then when you go down, secondly, to the presentation part there, you'll see there's many different forms of presentations now. There's Man Up, there's Power Women, there's She, there's mainstream Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. There's Results Academy. All the different various presentations. You don't need to use all of them. You've just got to find your way to invite into a presentation that you love to invite into. And when you do that, guess what you get, guys? You get registrations. And when you get registrations, you get testimonials. With testimonials, the cycle goes again and you become get 10, 12 months or less. Bam, done. See you later.
Great. Have a look at that live video when you get a chance as well. Whew, how are we feeling? Give me some feedback in the chat. We need like how long have we got? Have we gone good?
Keep going, we're going good.
Good.
I'll top us up with tea.
Going good. Tea break.
Now,
Intensity.
when someone gets a testimonial or a positive product experience, Em's going to kick off from here. So you're found your way to invite, right? However you're doing it, don't let anybody tell you it's right or wrong. As long as you're flapping your gums about the products and the business, I'm good with that. And you should be too. You get them into a presentation that you like. All presentations work, online, offline, Power Women, Man Up, G-Series, mainstream, 24/7, who cares, whatever, sometime, whenever. Presentations are good as long as you're not doing the presentation. Use someone else. Even a 3-way phone call is a presentation. They get registered, right? And they've had a good experience on the products and the community. They're at the testimonial part. I like this. I like the people. This can happen in an hour, 2 days, 3 days, a week, a month, whatever. The cycle's now complete. The testimonial is there. I'm feeling good. It's not a result. It's just a testimonial. I feel good. I like the people. Product's good. Em's going to show you now what to do with it. To make that cycle go again. To make it go again. To make it go again. It's called duplication.
Mm-hmm. So, and Marc made a perfect point. It's not, when they've lost 20 kilos or when they've, won the body transformation challenge. As a mentor coach, just looking out for that green light. We call it a green light when they've had that positive experience with the products. They're engaging in the events. They're sort of mentally just checkpointing a few things for you to talk next steps with them. They're asking some good questions and they're just looking for that next step. And so this is when we bring in the 20 goals process. Now, the 20 goals process is going to be an indicator, like these goals that you receive from this person. If you frame this exercise up correctly, it's going to tell you how to help that person move forward. So if I say to Marc, how'd you find the kickoff today? Or how'd you find the open house? How good's this person's story, that person's story? And he's already asking me questions like, well, how do you guys make money? And, like, how do I get into the Leadership Development Academy? He's asking some of these questions. I'm like, man, great questions. Let's get working on your goals. That's really your next steps from here. I want to know what you want before I tell you to do anything. So I'm going to send you through the 20 goals list. It's got some prompting questions on there. But, don't limit yourself here, mate. Like, there'll be some short-term goals, but we're anchoring into that 3 to 5 year plan of your dreams. And once I know what you want, then I can tell you what your next steps are. So I'll send you through that list tonight. Today's Thursday. All right, boom, let's meet back here Saturday morning. After Super Saturday, we'll go through those goals and we'll put a plan in place. How's that sound? He's all of a sudden like, that sounds great. Perfect. All right, sweet. Working on my goals. And then I'll send him through, there's a 20 goals sheet in the files tab of the GTC page. It's got a couple of prompting questions on there, but it is important to frame people up, guys, because if you just say like, here, write down your 20 goals on this piece of paper, people don't really know where to start. It can be quite overwhelming and you might end up with, more personal goals, health goals, things that I guess I always take responsibility for the fact of, did I frame that person up correctly? If I did frame that person up correctly, that, hey, time and money is really no issue here. We're going to start to develop like your life experience plan, what Herbalife can create for you. And I still get a list of health goals. I know that right now that person is quite happy on their own journey, maybe share the products with a few people, few referrals, volume producer type people. And so as a mentor, this is when you use your intuition of, is LDA the best option for that person, or not? And you've really got to, I guess, discuss that with them in an authentic space and understand what they want. And it's just really like looking at the goals. We've seen a lot of goals sheets and you can tell within the first couple of minutes. Even the fact of how quickly that person gets the goals done, whether or not they show up on that Saturday, they'll be like, oh, I've got to go to the footy and I've only got 3 goals. I've still got to work on the rest. So maybe we can catch up next week.
I'm in the car. You can just call me in the car, can't you? We'll just
yeah. I'm on my way out for lunch and I've only got 12 goals though. So I hope that's okay. No. What we're looking for is 20 goals, not 19, not 25, certainly not 12. If it's a working relationship, and Dan Waldron summed this up perfectly at Extravaganza. He said, this is a real opportunity for you. If you're willing to work, I'm willing to work with you. And so let's get going. Let's get serious about these goals. I'm excited to help you move forward. Kim Bromer, I'll marry you until you divorce me. Let's absolutely change your life. So the goals process is one of my favorite parts. So say, for example, then we get Marc's goals. Really important point to note, guys. We're not a life coach. So I'm not going to sit here and go through in great detail and spend an hour and a half analyzing every single component, emotion, childhood trauma story, whatever may be in these 20 goals. When you get these goals, look at them, actually read them, understand what this person's trying to tell you. Usually, from our experience, the first thing that they're interested in is replacing their income, or at least matching their income with their Herbalife business. That can often be a great starting point as a short-term goal for someone, particularly people that don't want to go back to work or want to transition out of something. The best way for you to understand how to work through this goals process is to watch your mentor do it about 100 times. And we still use George for people doing our goals, or we use each other, because bringing in that third person is definitely key. As he does to us, as George uses us for his goals chats now. So it's great for duplication. It again exposes people to another story, another voice saying the same thing. And on the second page of that goals list in the files tab, that 20 goals list, is a next step section. Another thing we want to share with you guys, bit of a funny story. The next steps page was something that we evolved and created, because what George used to do to us was he would sit there with our prospect. He'd go through roughly about 7 of their goals until he could identify where they needed to be on the marketing plan. And then he would literally say, all right, great. So, here's the marketing plan, this is where you need to be. These guys know what to do. You're in great hands. Qualify for the Supervisor Academy or Leadership Development Academy. See you soon.
Questions?
And then he would absolutely just leave the room, right? And so we were sitting there just going, what do I do with this person? I've got zero idea. I know I've got to get them into the academy. Okay, great. How do I do that? So all that next steps sheet is designed to do is prompt you to give that person the appropriate next action steps. So it's like a cheat sheet that we've created for you. The marketing plan's already drawn for you. It's super, super, super cheat sheet material. So use that, and it's great, especially over the phone, because all of you can have it in front of you. You can literally talk about where that person needs to be, their plan to supervisor, and a couple of action steps, be that setting a date for their business launch, doing their list building questionnaire, getting them into Leadership Development Academy, and perhaps the right events that are going to work in with the time that they have for their business. So the 20 goals list is a fantastic chance for you to really set that person up for success. So don't take it lightly, don't rush it. It's not a tick and flick process. It's not just about going through and having an emotional connection. It's definitely about understanding what they want, but you want that person leaving with clear, intentional next steps that are going to progress them in the business, not just progress them in their life goals. So there is there's multiple facets here. So use your mentor is what we're saying here. It's an important step. It's, it needs to be duplicated well. So use your mentor until you're confident. 5 years on, we're still using our mentor. So there's probably a hint there. And then, of course, they'll move into doing their list building questionnaire. So we'll talk about that next week a little bit more. But this particular part was just introducing you to experience, register, and that 20 goal sheet and the next steps business plan there. So use that to your advantage and just pay attention, treat your new people as human beings and ask some great questions, and you can progress them through as intensively as they want to move or as slow as they want to move. Everybody goes at their own timing. Do you want to add anything there? No, we can if you want, but it's another time.
Yeah. Guys, 25 minutes left. You're doing great. Stay with us now for this next bit, okay? So we've covered belief, mindset, inventory, business mindset, how to get, keep, develop clients and members, the benefits of that, how to do that, and then precisely what to do with them in the 4 steps that Em just talked about. You finished on goals there and supervisor plan. The last step to that is really just finding out, who they like and trust, their list building questionnaire. Again, we'll leave that for another time, but
we'll talk about that next week.
We talk about that next week in great detail. So that's going to be fantastic. Now we're going to be talking theory. All right. This it might sort of take you back to being in the classroom. That's why I said, please just stay with us. We're going to talk a little bit about numbers, marketing plan, that sort of stuff. Don't worry if you don't get this stuff right now. I'm still learning it today after 5 years. All I want you to do and gain from this section is realize that there's a lot available in a marketing plan, not just a little bit. I just want to stretch your brain a little bit. I'm not fussed whether you get this or not. I just want to stretch your brain a bit. All the answers are in your Herbalife manuals. If you want to do the study, cross the T's, dot the I's, draw the squares, the lines and the circles, and understand the volume points and the earn bases and all that stuff, it is in your manuals, which you can go and study. And you can study that like you did at school in theory and really learn it. But I'm just going to teach you, we're just going to, share what we know about the marketing plan, because we don't know a lot about the marketing plan, but we know how to work the marketing plan. Okay? And there's a big difference. We know how to work the marketing plan. We don't necessarily know how every component of the marketing plan works. And that alone is probably a bit of a tip for you. Let me give you the example. It's like when you turn the car on. I have no idea what happens when I stick the key in or press the button. From that point, that action there, to when the car moves, I'm sure there's a million things that happen between that button and that key to the engine. But I don't care about that. All I do know is that if I turn the key and press the button, the engine goes on. That's all I need to know. I guess someone else, the manufacturer of the car, the manufacturer of the marketing plan, knows all that stuff. And that's why I just leave it up to them to know. My job is to drive the vehicle, climb the marketing plan. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. My first point is I'm going to recommend you actually know your next step. Do you know why most people don't go to the next step in the marketing plan? Because they don't actually even know what the next step involves. So I know this sounds basic. My recommendation is if you're a supervisor, know how to get to active world team. Know every component of it. You'll do world team along the way. Don't worry about that. If you're a supervisor, know how to get to active world team and the components of active world team. Just enough. Not every little bit, but just know how to work the marketing plan in order to get to active world team. That's all. If you're an active world team member, same for global expansion team. Get team to get to 5 and so on and so on and so on. Little story for you. One of our team members yesterday is about 75% on their way to their next pin. And I just shot him a quick message and I was going to call him after that. Hey, did you know? Their response, wow, I had no idea. For me, that's a big problem. You should know where you are in the marketing plan if you're obsessed with getting to the next pin. I tell you right now, I have no idea what 15K looks like in the marketing plan, but we know enough about President's team. Why? That's our next pin. You've got to immerse yourself in the next pin. So if you're a supervisor, or if you're not yet a supervisor, know every component about supervisor enough to work the marketing plan. Same for Will. Whatever your next pin is, just make sure you know about it. Yeah? Don't be like, I'm here now. I'm not sure how I got here. That's not a good thing. And just know it, because when you know it, you can show it. That's good, isn't it? When you know it, you can show it. And this whole thing is about showing people how to do what you've done. Moving into the next point, when you know the next step and you go and get it, all you ever need to do in this marketing plan is show 2 to 4 people how to get to your current position in the marketing plan, and you'll move. So if you're a supervisor, or if you're not yet a supervisor, let's say you're a success builder. If you can show 2 to 4 people how to become a success builder or a qualified producer, you become a supervisor. If you're a supervisor and you show 2 to 4 people how to become a supervisor, you become world team. If you're a world team member and you show 2 to 4 people how to become world team, you become active world team. If you're active world team, you show 2 to 4 people how to become active world team, you become get team. This works the whole way up the marketing plan. This works to where the marketing plan finishes and beyond. It's just brilliant. So that's why for me, it's important to know the next step. Don't get psychoanalytic about it, but just know enough about it, how to work the marketing plan. Then when you know it, you can show it. And if you show 2 to 4 people how to get to where you are, you move. Isn't that cool? When you know that about the marketing plan, a little bit of response will be brilliant, guys. You know, when your teacher's up the front teaching science and you're dozing off, don't do that to me. You'll understand when you're teaching the marketing plan on a Zoom call at some point. Trust me.
Even the thing that we always say is to retrace how you got started. You know, retrace your introduction. So if you're not yet supervisor, Marc's about to go through the supervisor methods. And if all the numbers and even the names on the marketing plan aren't even making sense yet, you're just like, I did 1,000 volume to get into this academy. You know, that's all I remember. Great. Fantastic. Remember that. Remember that you were invited into a presentation. Remember that you were asked to do your goals. Remember that Leadership Development Academy was the obvious next step. So, you know, taking people through those same steps, you'll progress through to supervisor, which is your next step if you're not yet a supervisor. So I'm going to talk supervisor methods and, you know, talk about that first.
So we know our next step, show 2 to 4 people. Just a little more theory now, guys. I'm going to explain or attempt to explain the difference between personal volume and organizational volume. Again, understanding this is not going to make you go and achieve it, but it's just nice to know. One of those things, these are just some of the basics about the marketing plan. Personal volume is made up of your personally purchased orders from the warehouse. So products that you order yourself, that makes up your personal volume. And personal volume is also made up from everyone else in your front line or front 3 levels that's not a supervisor. So stuff you purchase and non-supervisor orders. That creates personal volume. If you just think about it that way, whatever I purchase and whoever is in my organization that's not a non-supervisor, like from me down, a non-supervisor volume, that's my personal volume. It's going to travel up to me and stay with me. That creates your 2,500 plus personal volume. The second somebody becomes a supervisor, any volume that they do becomes organizational volume to you because they're now a supervisor. So personal orders yourself, non-supervisors ordering your personal volume. When those non-soups become soups, the volume they do becomes organizational volume. Then when they have their own non-supervisors, they have their own personal volume. Then when those people become supervisors and so on and so on. And that's how you can climb the marketing plan with personal volume and non-organizational volume. So that's the difference there, personal volume and organizational volume. Again, refer to myherbalife.com. Royalty points. I'm going to touch on this right now because, you know, with Active World Team, how there's a 500 royalty point component. You might have heard that before, 500 royalty points, 500 royalty points. I want to break it down like this for you. For every 2,500 organizational volume, just write that down, 2,500 organizational volume. For every 2,500 organizational volume, that means volume done by supervisors, you'll get 125 royalty points. So if you had 4 supervisors doing their 2,500, that'll give you 10,000 in total. That'll give you 125 royalty points, 125 royalty points, 125 royalty points, 125 royalty points, meaning you've got 500 royalty points. Active World Team, 1 component ticked off. So supervisor volume is organizational volume. That carries royalty points. For every 2,500 volume points, you get 125 royalty points. If you got 4 of them doing 2,500, 500 royalty points. If you got 3 of them doing 3,333, 10,000 org, 500 royalty points. You got 1 person doing 10,000 supervisor, 500 royalty points. And there's many, many different configurations, but that's about the extent of what we know about the marketing plan. And then everything else, we just refer to the manuals. Do you know why? Because that's all you need to know about the marketing plan to climb it. That's what we've worked out. Everything else, level 11, home office, they can know that about the marketing plan. I just hope they do know about it because I don't. Let's talk supervisor methods. Did you want to add anything there?
No, perfect.
Okay, supervisor methods.
Just trying to see if everyone's
Cool. We've got 10 minutes. Here we are. All right, need some interaction here. We've got 10, 12 minutes. Let's talk circles, squares, lines, numbers, points, and what have yous. Don't stress if you don't understand this. All I want to do here is stretch your brain a bit. Did you know? Actually, hands up. Hands up if you're a supervisor. Right now, hands up. Okay. Keep your hand up if you went in to supervisor in 1 month. Okay. Keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. 1 monthers. Keep your hand up if you went to supervisor in 2 months or less. 2 months or less. Keep, one month, keep your hand up. But now 2 months, add your hand up. Now everybody that's got their hand up, keep their hand up. If you did it in 3 months, hand up. Great. That's about 80% of the call. Now you can put your hands down. Thanks for your interaction. What we learned from this, guys, is going as supervisor fast or as fast as that person can go, clearly, evidently, based on this call, is the most successful way to get to supervisor. That's all I'm going to say. Fast is fun. Fast is easy. Fast is progressive. Fast is happy. Slow is painful. Slow is debilitating. Slow is paralysis and expensive. Now, what's fast and slow for somebody? That's the determining factor. They get to decide that. What our message to you is, go as fast as they can go. If that's 4 months, fantastic. If you've got a 1 month person, make them go in 1 month. If you've got an 8 month person, make him go in 8 months. Just to make him go as fast as they can go. There is nothing worse than getting a sprinter and trying to teach him how to do it in 3 to 12 months. Nothing worse. You'll lose them. And on the flip side, there is nothing worse than getting a long distance runner to try to do sprints. Don't get a 3 to 12 month person and try to do it in 1 month. You'll lose them. So that's why the concept here is find out what they want, make them go as fast as they can go. Because evidently, if they go quick, success loves speed. Success loves speed. That's all we know. If you want to go to supervisor in 1 month, I'm going to draw it up here. It's real simple. Give an example. Sherry's on the call. Sherry goes, I want to build a business. I want to do 1,000 volume. I say, fantastic. What do you want, Sherry? She tells us what she wants. She does her goals. I'll say, who do you know? If Sherry went and got another, I hope you guys can see that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. See that? So Sherry's at the top. She goes and goes, hey, I've got my next door neighbor, Jenny. She also wants to do LDA and look at the products in the business. Cool. Jenny, hey, who do you know? Well, my son, Jack, wants to join me. Cool, Jack. Yeah, I've got a best mate called John. He's coming as well. 1,000. That happens in 1 month. Sherry's a supervisor. Just like that. For 1,000 volume at a 42% discount in 1 month. And the people she's introduced, they're also in the system, which means they're safe. They're getting information. Everybody's learning together. Isn't that brilliant? You show a sprinter that, a sprinter's going to go, give me it. I'm going to eat it all up. You don't show that to a customer that wants a discount because they're going to go, oh, I don't need to know that. So when you find out what they want, work in line with what they want. So that's just a 1 month method. Let me just keep going. I just want to stretch your brain here, guys. 1,000 volume, 1 month with 3 downline members versus by yourself, 8 months, 4,000 volume. I don't know. I'm not saying anything's right or wrong. I'm just going fast sounds more fun. 2 month method. Let's say Sherry did 1,000. She went to go and find her 3 other people, but she couldn't find them in 1 month. She could only find one other person, her next door neighbor, Jenny. She couldn't find the next two. She could just find the one, and they did 1,000. So this is August. 1,000. You with me so far? And they're in LDA, away they go. The next month, we do a business launch. We get some things rocking and rolling. Next month, September, they do 1,500. See that? August, 1,000. September, those same two people do 1,500. Which means over 2 months, they've done 2,500 in total each. 5,000 in total as a unit. They're both supervisors. For 2,500 in 2 months, not 4,000 in 8 months. I don't know. It sounds good to me. That's the 2-month method. And you know what, guys? If you go for the 1 month and miss, and you go for the 2 months and miss, and you teach your people, remember whatever expectation you set is generally what people live up to. Whatever precedent you set will duplicate. Let's say everybody goes for this all the time and you miss. Guess what you're in qualification for? 3 to 12 months. You're in qualification for it anyway. All the volume you've done up to this point, if you go for the first month and miss, you try to clean it up second month and you miss, you're in your 3rd month now. You're already in the 3 to 12 month method because it's your 3rd month. You're already in that. All the volume you've done in your first 2 months goes towards that. As soon as you hit 4,000, you're going to be a supervisor anyway. The difference with that is you're shooting from the top and the safety net is 3 to 12. You don't need to pitch people 3 to 12 because that's the bottom. That's not the top. If you pitch people the bottom, you're only going to have customers. Or you're going to have an organization of army ants that crawl their way to supervisor. They might not even get to supervisor by the time it's time to re-qualify. They might miss the 12-month period because they're having a shake, tear, and aloe. Guys, all I want you to get from this is fast is fun, success loves speed, pitch it big, get them to go as fast as they can go, shoot for 1, shoot for 2. If you miss, you're already in 3 to 12. And when this duplicates, my gosh, that's all I'm going to say.
Not easy to teach the marketing plan over a Zoom session. So, again, Marc said it perfectly. There's examples on myherbalife.com. There's examples in the manuals. You'll see us draw this at the centers. And, if you hear this one time and you're like, what? It doesn't matter because we go over this all the time. And to be honest, the most relevant that this becomes is actually when you have some people coming through the system and you can say to your mentor, all right, this person's ready for goals and, then we're going to do this, and they will help you figure this out along the way. So it's much easier. It's like learning a recipe without the ingredients. Once you've got the ingredients, you can then start to plot along and the recipe starts to develop.
And your mentor will show you this as many times. So when you have a line stick or a 2 month, when you have one stick, you go, I get it. Because you've been told 1,000 times, but you've been shown once and you go, got it. Let's go. Let's change the world.
Awesome. So just hang in there, guys. We're finishing with our peak topic, and it's only going to take a couple of minutes because it summarizes up everything that we've talked about today. There's a lot of nuts and bolts type stuff in week 2. Yeah, we talk a lot about the marketing plan, but this is the basis of your business plan. This is what's going to set you free. So lastly, we're going to talk about active world team. So some of you are shooting for this. If you're supervisor at the moment, even some of you are world team, and you're just trying to get that final component of active world team done, which involves helping other people get to the supervisor position and start to build, their own consumer and member base so that they're doing that 2,500 volume points plus, and your organizational volume is starting to develop. Active World Team symbolizes that you know how to basically do all components of the business. It's a baby president's team business. And so if you just do that times 10, you'll be president's team. So, that's it.
So true.
So true.
We've got 9 at the moment. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So active world team times 10, president's team. I'm going to just give you a few tasters of the active world team experience, and then we're going to cement that we all know the components of active world team. One of the best parts about active world team is you go on what we call a rising star experience. And this is when a Herbalife chauffeur picks you up at your front door, takes you to the airport, you fly to the state of your choice, and you get to share your story at a major event in another state. So, basically you're stepping up into that leadership position. You're put up in a beautiful hotel. There's a cheese platter there. There's, a bottle of wine, and it gives you a taste of that president's team lifestyle. You can take your partner, especially if they're skeptical, that works a treat. And, you really get to start to experience some of those lifestyle things that Herbalife offers for you. So the Rising Star experience is something that you should put on your goals and vision board if you haven't yet achieved Active World Team. And those of you that have achieved Active World Team, never be quick to not share about that with your team members that are chasing Active World Team. Because it's a pretty special experience. And then you get to do it again when you're global expansion team. So these rewards just keep coming. You get a $500 US bonus just for helping people grow and develop, which is pretty cool. And you get access to all of the leadership trainings now at the major events. Being Active World Team gives you bonus points to qualify for the vacation. And now that you know how to go Active World Team, qualifying for the vacation, it makes sense. You understand how to do it. If you just focus on developing more Active World Team in your group, you'll qualify for the vacation. You'll go on to qualify for Global Expansion Team. You'll go on to qualify for the honors. Active World Team was always taught to us to be the absolute focus. So if you're not yet Active World Team, tune in. If you are Active World Team, tune in, because the whole gig is going and developing Active World Team lines. Times 10, President's Team. So Marc's already spoken about usually what people find the most challenging component, which is that 500 royalty. And why that's the most challenging component is because it's not reliant on you. It's reliant on you going and helping other people to build their business. So 500 royalty, he's broken that down, 10,000 organizational volume. So that's one component. All you need to focus on is doing everything we spoke about today, putting people through the system. They will reveal themselves, or release the expectation, help people with their goals. The organization will develop. People, not points. Remember, focus on the people, the points will come. So that's one component. The second component is 2 months of 5,000 personal volume. 2 months. It used to be 1 month of 10, which was like, whoa. But they've been nice. They've adjusted the marketing plan, and it's 2 months of 5,000 personal volume. So just write this down, 2 months of 5. And then within that, so consecutively, you need 2 months of 2.5. So just imagine this month being double vacation points. You do a month of 5, which is highly what we would recommend. Shoot for 5+, right? So 5,000 volume points in August, you get your double vacay points, and you've started your qualification for Active World Team. Off the back of the momentum of World Team Leadership Weekend, the momentum you've created from this Leadership Development Academy, everything that we're talking about, you smash out another month of 5. So you've got those 2 months of 5 done. And all the while, you've got new supervisors coming through and popping out in your business from applying everything from LDA. Let's say worst case scenario, a few supervisors pop through and you've got new organizational volume. So August, September, you've done 5. October, you do 2.5. You've had all your supervisors are now org, and you're like, crap, I've got to fill my pipeline again, but I can do my 2.5. October. November, another month of 2,500 personal volume points. That's that personal component done. 2 months of 5, 2 months of 2.5. And we're just saying it might be a different configuration of that, but that's the minimum. And then because of all the momentum and the work, piling everyone into the events, them duplicating the same, path that you did, you pop out that month of 10,000 organizational volume in that 5th month, or even you've actually got 6 months. Herbalife give you 6 months to complete the qualification, but the personal volume needs to be done in 4 consecutive months. So you can all be active world team by Spectacular. By the February Spectacular in 2018, even if you are not yet a supervisor, you can all be active world team. And, you know, if you see yourself walking across that stage, you know, getting that active world team pin, and you're like, now I get it. I remember that Leadership Development Academy. I wrote the qualification down. I just simply applied. I went back over my notes. I simply applied everything that they were talking about, from working on my belief, from having some inventory, from treating this like a business, getting clear on my show up structure, helping people move through the system, 4 steps, focusing on what other people wanted, helping them move forward based on those goals, understanding to just show 2 to 4 people to do what I've already done, and I will move through to active world team. Yeah, so 2 to 4 people, show them what you've already done, and you will move to supervisor, world team, active world team. And
guys, that's it from us. Throw everything you've got at this month, because of one reason alone. There's a free vacation that awaits for all of you 12 months from now. This is the first month of the qualification. If you do 2,000, Herbalife double it. If you do 4, Herbalife double it. If you do 5, Herbalife double it. If you do 6,000 personal, Herbalife will give you an additional 5, which means you're doing some seriously big numbers. If you want to bite off a huge chunk of vacation, you swing like crazy this month for the next 16, 17 days. You just go absolutely nuts. Did you know if the 5K months have to be consecutive to each other? No, they don't. Just the personal volume, the 4 months of personal volume need to be done in 4 consecutive months. But the 5s can be month 1 and month 4. Back to what I was talking about. Vacation, whatever you've got in the tank this month, drain it. Just absolutely throw whatever. Follow us on this, guys, because you're going to pick up double volume. I don't care what the number is, as long as when you put your head on the pillow at the end of the month, you've done your best. Like there's nothing left in the tank. Don't care what the number is. Just as long as you go, I've extracted every ounce of energy that I've got within inside me. And that's what I finished on. And thank God Herbalife are just going to double that for me. And if it was over 5, Herbalife will just throw you 5. It's going to put you in the, can you imagine the mindset for the next 11 months on vacation when you start that way? Like you're ahead of play, you're ahead of play, you're ahead of play versus, I'm behind, got to catch up. That's a totally different ballgame, because on the World Team Leadership Weekend, you'll find out where we're going. You won't believe it. Double vacay. Keep in mind, spectacular qualifications start this month as well. So as a bonus of just shooting for your holiday, you'll look up and go, man, I'm in the running for VIP, Spectacular Adelaide, February 2018. Let's go get it. That's it from us.
And something else special that we'll announce on the focus call.
Get on the focus call because we're about to drop a bomb bigger than Ben-Hur. We can't even believe it.
Go and make yourself the biggest, bestest President's Team shake, guys. Down it. Flip that mindset. You know, go out there and chase your dreams. No one else is going to chase it for you. Week 2, products, belief, Herbalife's always going to have the best. Peace out. Team photo, big smiles. President's Team. Got it. Love you guys. Have an awesome day. Bye.